For thousands of years, they've just been sitting there on the horizon. These perfect mountains of stone that seem to, well, defy all explanation. The Egyptian pyramids are one of the greatest engineering puzzles in all of history. But what if the clues to solving it have been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Today, we're going to piece them all together. Okay, first, you really have to appreciate the massive challenge they were up against. I mean, the pyramid builders were working without the most basic machines we take for granted. No wheels to move things, no complex pulley systems to do the heavy lifting, and no hard iron tools, just softer copper. It's almost impossible to imagine working under those kinds of constraints. And the scale of the job? Wow, it's just staggering. This number you see, 2.3 million, that's how many stone blocks they think are in the Great Pyramid of Giza alone. And these weren't little bricks either. The average block weighed around 1.5 tons, and some of the massive granite beams inside, they weighed up to 80 tons. That's like trying to lift 40 cars. Which, of course, brings us to the big one, the question that has fascinated everyone from ancient historians to modern-day engineers. With such basic tech and such a ridiculously huge goal, how on earth did they pull it off? Well, the first part of the answer isn't about lifting the blocks up high. Nope. It's about something much more basic. Just getting them to the construction site in the first place. The problem was just moving these giant stones across all that sand. Yeah, if you've ever tried to drag something heavy like a cooler across a sandy beach, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dry sand has this really annoying habit of piling up right in front of whatever you're pulling, creating this little hill that just stops you dead in your tracks. Now imagine that with a multi-ton stone on a sled. Progress would be basically impossible. So for centuries, a huge clue was hiding in plain sight in this nearly 4,000-year-old wall painting. You can see a worker pouring some kind of liquid right in front of a giant sledge. For the longest time, experts just thought, oh, that's probably just part of a ceremony. But then in 2014, some physicists decided to actually test it. And what they found was amazing. Adding just the right amount of water to sand creates these tiny little capillary bridges between the grains. This literally makes the sand twice as firm and, get this, it cuts the pulling force needed to move the sledge in half. The sledge just glides right over it. As the researchers themselves put it, the solution was just so elegantly simple. The sand just stops being an obstacle. A little bit of water, and suddenly the desert becomes a superhighway. All right, so solving the ground transport problem is one thing, but that just gets the stones to the base of the pyramid. Now for the real challenge, the vertical one. How in the world did they lift millions of blocks to build something that soared 481 feet into the sky? For literally centuries, the whole debate has pretty much boiled down to two main ideas, and they're both surprisingly low tech. Either they used ramps to drag the stones up, or they used levers to lift them one level at a time. But which theory actually holds up? I mean, which one makes sense? Let's be investigators for a minute and really weigh the evidence for each of these competing ideas. Okay, what's so fascinating here is how this table just breaks down the simplest ideas. So a single straight ramp. Seems obvious, right? Except it would have had to be over a mile long and would have used up more material than the pyramid itself. Just not feasible. Okay, what about a zigzag ramp on one side? Well, good luck trying to make a tight turn with a multi-ton block. And a spiral ramp wrapping around the outside? That would have covered up all the corners, making it impossible to get those perfectly precise angles the pyramids are famous for. The other big idea comes from the ancient Greek historian Herodotus. He wrote that the Egyptians used machines of short wooden logs to basically lever the stones up from one level to the next. You can kind of picture it, right? Like a giant seesaw lifting a stone just high enough to slide it onto the next tier, step by painful step. It's plausible, but for 2.3 million blocks, man, that is an incredible amount of work. So because of all the flaws in those older ideas, we've got some more modern theories. For example, an architect named Jean-Pierre Houdin came up with this really fascinating hybrid idea. He suggested a big external ramp for the bottom third of the pyramid, but then for the top 70%, a hidden internal ramp that corkscrews up inside the structure itself. And that would totally explain why we've never found any evidence of a single gigantic ramp. But the latest idea to hit the scene is by far the most radical one. It suggests the Egyptians were able to harness the power of water in a way no one ever expected.
So, this theory basically suggests that water was channeled into shafts inside the pyramid to raise a float that carried the stones up. Pretty much a primitive water elevator. It's a mind-blowing idea, but this is where you see the scientific debate in action. Mainstream Egyptologists are, let's just say, highly skeptical. They point out that there's no other evidence the Egyptians understood water pressure. Plus, they argue the pyramid's limestone is so porous, the water would probably just leak out and turn the whole thing into a giant muddy mess.
But maybe the biggest misunderstanding about the pyramids has nothing to do with ramps or levers. It's about the people who actually built them. The final, and I think most important piece of the puzzle is the workforce itself. That popular image we all have, the one from Hollywood, of countless slaves being worked to death under the pharaoh's whip. Well, as this quote shows, archaeologists have completely flipped that idea on its head. The evidence they found in the workers' cemeteries near the pyramids tells a totally different story. Yeah, this evidence forces us to completely rethink who these builders were. They were a skilled, paid workforce. A lot of them were probably farmers who worked on the pyramids for a few months during the Nile's flood season, kind of like a form of national service or a way to pay taxes. They lived in organized villages, were split into super efficient crews with foremen, and they got a daily wage of bread and beer. This was a respected, professional crew, not a captive one. So, in the end, there was no one secret to how the pyramids were built. The real answer is a combination of everything we've talked about. You have the brilliant, simple physics of wet sand for the sleds, a complex system of ramps, maybe both internal and external, some clever levering for the final touches, and, holding it all together, the absolute logistical genius of organizing and caring for a massive, skilled workforce.
The pyramids weren't built by aliens. They weren't built with lost magic. They were built by human beings, pushing the absolute limits of their knowledge and their ability. They're proof of what's possible when an entire society focuses its energy toward a single, monumental goal. And that really leaves us with one final thing to think about. What's going to be our generation's Great Pyramid?